Well, hello there. It's been a while. Wait a minute. Sounds like the beginning of a song. Hello, it's been a while. We are back. Welcome to Garden America, one and all. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the replays, the best of. We are back in the saddle, back at the iHeart Studios here in San Diego, California. Brian Main, of course. Yours truly, John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox. We can't wait to catch up. A lot going on this morning. We've got a guest from across the pond, which will be calling us in a little while. And an old favorite's back with us. Somebody you've been clamoring for. The cards, the letters, the emails. Ladies and gentlemen, Tiger, get ready for the switch. I present John Bagnasco.
Oh, that's a good introduction. And here I thought you forgot all about me.
No. I tell you, that was a pretty lonely chair while you were gone. We'd glance several times during the show, and it was sad. He wanted to get a cutout of you, big cutout, and put it there.
I was going to get one of those plush dolls of John.
Oh, that would have worked, too.
Yeah.
He's a man
Welcome back, John.
He's a man of few words.
Welcome back. He's still trying to find us on his phone.
Oh, that's right.
Well, yeah, all of a sudden we started the show and I realized, hey, I don't have a sup. I don't know what's going on.
And the reason, so that we can monitor questions, comments on the phones.
Monitor himself. He wants to make sure he's looking pretty.
That's true, too. Well, he spends an hour in the green room.
Exactly.
Goodness gracious, I get here at the crack of dawn. He's already here.
He's already there.
Here I am. Wow.
You look sharp,
Look at
right?
you.
Yeah. I got my brawny shirt on.
That's true.
Brawny
or maybe a little Paul Bunyan. It works.
A little Paul Bunyan. I like brawny.
Yeah, brawny's better. You're
Well, I
right.
had a lot going on. I was at the
You had weddings going on.
the Pacific auction had been moved from February to March. So
How'd that go?
I missed that. Went really well.
Yeah.
It's long.
Yeah, see, we've tried to cut our auctions over the years a little bit, too.
Yeah.
Of course, John says that, don't worry, instead of like 30 roses this year, there's going to be a 21.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
29.
But no, it can drag, can it?
Yeah, it can. But anyway, and then my son got married the next week.
Yeah.
And Tiger officiated at the wedding, and I have to tell all our listeners, Tiger did an awesome job. If you want to get married or remarried, just give Tiger a call.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what do you think about that he put you on the spot like that? Because
I asked Tiger, have you done this before?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, about 10 times.
Yeah.
And I said, they all turn out good? He goes, about 80%.
Yeah. I've got an 8 out of 10
So
record.
I'm thinking, if you're in baseball, 80%, you're a superstar.
I'm in the Hall of Fame.
800.
Yeah.
I'm a Hall in the Fame.
Right.
Hall in the Fame, too.
But weddings, maybe not so much.
But as I discussed with Tiger prior to the wedding, it's always good to know the room, know who your audience is going to be, know a little bit about the background so you can relate.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've had some 20% of the dogs that you officiated just didn't happen. Tiger was in Toastmasters. I found that out at one time.
I mentioned that he had a quote from C.S. Lewis, which impressed me. And it was very professional.
It was fun. It was a good group of people.
And heartfelt.
It was a good group of people, and that's what makes the big difference on a wedding.
I was going to say, the people.
The people were fun.
Anybody like last minute come up and say, "Hey, can you say this?" or "Here, can you read this?"
Oh yeah,
or,
definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Did really?
Well, yeah.
You would expect that, sure.
So it was, it was good. It was great, but it was a good crowd and good friends, good people.
Good time was had by all.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, did you have a joke lined up at all? Do you kind of come with a little zinger?
The entrance itself kind of led to that. There was a lot going on, so I had
there
to
were
kind
a lot of bridesmaids and
So there was a lot going on. So just kind of that was
8 and 8, right?
Yeah, a big group of people and a lot of explaining of what's happening and who people are, and so there was.
There were a lot of last minute decisions too at the reception.
Yeah, like you'd expect. Just go with it.
At the reception, I'm sitting at the table eating. And my daughter-in-law goes, they just mentioned your name. You got to go up there and say something. I go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
No one ever told me, so I didn't prepare anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's always I've been in those situations before.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it worked out okay.
John did a
Get up
wonderful
and
job
say
at the
something.
speech,
Let me
the
get up.
father's speech for sure. Yeah.
Usually the best man says something, so I didn't know I was going to have to go up and say something. But the best man was my oldest son, Joe. And I thought he did a good job with.
Oh, man.
I've downloaded my speech on ChatGPT.
Exactly.
And he goes, and here it goes. Still
Still
loading.
loading.
Still loading.
Forget about that.
It was cute though because Joe and Jesse being brothers, they and working together and
Right.
everything for many, many years. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm calling out Joe here a little bit, but he tends to play a pretty hard guy. He's a tough guy.
Confident.
And
walks into a room. It's
and
all,
he broke down during the speech, and it was
Good.
it was
That's
very
good to see that.
it was great. It was great to see him, that way. It's his brother.
See
getting
the
married.
softer side.
See the softer side.
Now, as you
exactly.
get older, you tend to cry easier about things that you go, why did I just cry about that?
Like when you get pricked by a rose.
I'm surprised you said that because I was telling somebody the other day that, I think I told you this.
Oh,
Hey, that might be our guest.
yeah.
Oh, well.
exactly.
How about that? Well, you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
I will answer the phone and try to be
Well,
quiet.
there
Perfect.
you go.
All right. What were you saying now? You
Well, I was
just the
gonna
other day?
I had watched a music video and started crying.
A music video?
Yeah,
Which song?
it was Johnny Cash.
Really?
Yeah,
Johnny Cash music video. And it
Yeah.
touched you, huh?
yeah, and it was just watching the video, and I don't know, and it's happened a couple times recently. It's just something hits me, and
Yeah.
I kind of tear up.
Yeah,
Choke.
that's good.
Yeah, I tend to tear up over things now more than I think it's just basically as you get older, you've got more of a history behind you. You understand the world a little better, and I think you become more appreciative.
Yeah,
Oh,
I am
appreciative for sure.
of a lot of things.
Yeah.
but you
appreciative.
still don't cry over spilled milk.
Oh, you kidding me?
Eggs nowadays, though.
I cry for the
Eggs.
price of
Oh,
eggs.
yeah.
If I
You drop an egg, there's a
I
buck.
cry.
Speaking of that, John, you have a lot of eggs, don't you?
I do. And
What's that? What are you going to hit him up?
No, just a curiosity. By the way, the eggs that you gave us the last time, a few months ago,
are all gone.
I hope so.
they were gone. Let me tell you, those were good eggs.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah, they're very
I don't
good.
think I have extras, but I'll check. 'Cause
John's a good egg, isn't he?
We get a. Are your eggs laying right now? Are your chickens laying right now?
Are your
Yes.
eggs laying?
Okay, because ours were not laying about a month ago. It was very spotty,
Right.
kind of thing.
I had the same thing.
The weather's turned, all of that kind of thing now, and now they're rolling.
Hey,
Well, you know what?
I'm sorry, John. I was going to say, we got 3 or 4 minutes to the break.
Yeah.
And he's holding.
Uh-huh.
We should bring him on.
Should bring him on
introduce
at least
Okay.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And didn't mean to interrupt, but at least get him on.
No,
And
no,
then,
we should. Yeah, he's calling
okay.
It's long distance, Brian.
You remember those days?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we still remember how to do this here. And, well, Tiger, I'm going to throw it to you right off the bat. David is with us, calling all the way from across the pond in England, Tiger. And, of course, if you get the newsletter, a little bit about David's background was in there and what we're going to be talking about, Tiger. So let's get the show on the road, as they say.
Yeah, so joining us this morning is author David Domoney from England, as Brian had mentioned. He's a fellow at the London Colleges of Horticulture, chartered fellow at the Charter Institute of Horticulture, and fellow at the Warwickshire College of Horticulture. David, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Well, good morning to you. Yes, I'm here in Stratford-upon-Avon, which is Shakespeare's place.
Oh,
And
really?
I'm in my garden. So, yeah, and it's the afternoon here, but it's been a bright morning.
Yeah.
What's the weather like with you guys?
It's beautiful. What do we got? 70 degrees
About
today?
70, 75,
70
maybe
and
low
sunny?
70s.
Right.
Well,
Where are you? What are you at right now? Is it warm and sunny?
well, it's the beginning of spring for us here, of course, and yeah, we've got all the buds coming open on some of the early cherry trees. Forsythias are in flower, beautiful golden flowers out there, and we're seeing the start of a lot of leaves coming out. So it's a positive and hopeful spring.
Yeah. Hey, David, have you ever been to Southern California?
Yeah, so the only places I've been in America, I went to Sacramento, Los Angeles,
Okay.
and San Francisco.
So pretty much our weather stays the same 12 months out of the year, maybe 11 months out of the year. We change it up every once in a while.
Yeah, just
but,
for grins.
So I love to hear that you have this emerging spring, because it is spring, as you know, for us as well. And not a lot changed in the past couple of months, but so it's fun. It's fun because you have this whole awakening happening where you're at, and we always love to hear that from people that live in other areas, East Coast, United States, obviously other parts of the world and stuff like that. Hey, David, we are going to have to take a break in just a minute here, but we wanted to get you on so we didn't have you holding for so long, and we're going to be talking about a book that you wrote, Plants with Superpowers. So when we get back from break, I'll introduce the book. We'll start chatting about what's in the book and some exciting things that are going on for you. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Stay with us. Those on Biz Talk Radio, welcome. Facebook Live, we're all in for a real treat this morning. Brian Main, John Begnasker, Tiger Palafox, welcome to another episode, another edition of Garden America. Stay with us. All righty, we are back from the break. Thank you to Biz Talk Radio, Stephanie and the crew keeping us on nationally every single weekend. And, of course, here on Facebook Live as we continue, Tiger, right back to our conversation with David. Going to be one you're going to really want to listen closely to, whether you're on Biz Talk Radio or Facebook Live.
All right. And on the line with us this morning is David Domoney from the UK, author of the book Plants with Superpowers. Just released this month, right, David?
That's right. It's just going out. My copies are in the post. I should be getting a few of them on Monday. And it is a book that contains genuine superpowers of plants that we know every day. And these aren't plants that are on the top of a mountain range or bottom of the sea or in a deep, darkest part of a Borneo jungle. These are 75 plants that you can grow in your own home and garden. And each one of them has a secret, a personality that makes them very special.
And like you say, like, these are sometimes plants that you could be walking right by right now that you don't even realize or see in a grocery store and not understand it fully because you just see it every day and you're like, wait a minute. So, I mean, it's so neat to kind of get into the depths of the plant science and understand how they grow, why they grow, what they do. And, your book really breaks it down because sometimes we hear plants, they can grow here. And you're just like, oh, that's great. It grows there. But you don't understand why it can or what has adapted to it to make it grow there. And so what inspired you to get going on that?
Well, I think with my children, connecting and engaging them in horticulture with a passion of growing, cultures up in your own mind, little things that we did as kids when we were all growing up, whether it's putting a blade of grass in between and squeezing it in between your two thumbs and making it into a trumpet, whether it's little snapdragons that you squeeze at the side, whether it's sticky grass you throw, conkers to play, daisy chains, all of those small, exciting things when we were kids, where the world held a lot of new things that we were learning. Now, we keep a lot of those within ourselves. I mean, scent, for instance, does throw us back. So oxygenated hydrocarbons are released when grass is being cut, and we smell cut grass. And for many of us, it's the scent of when we were kids or the school playing fields being cut, and it unlocks those memories. And then I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could find more amazing things to entertain us when we're older, like gems and beauty of nature reawoken in our own minds. So I collated this book, and every single chapter, every single plant will have something that amazes you, puts a smile on your face, and reconnects you with nature, especially in a world that's so over-dominated now with technology. We're swiping and scrolling. This book encourages you to look up.
And, so did you know some of these kind of superpowers already? Or did you kind of like just start to do a deep dive and like research and find a lot of these out yourself?
Yeah, so some of it I knew. Some of it I suspected. We went in, not all of them that came apparent with the as part of the process. But it took me into different areas. It took me areas of neurology, how the brain works. It took me across to how electricity, for some plants have the ability to charge your mobile phone. Other plants have the ability that has captivated their own unique nature from millions of years ago that's still present today. I mean, take the Venus flytrap, for instance. We all know the Venus flytrap, Dioneer, Darwin's most favourite plant. It has the ability, and it has evolved for 65 million years. It's been on the planet, and it has evolved into a super predator, particularly focused towards eating meat. And you think to yourself, it's not its flower, it's a modified leaf is the mouth. The flower is something completely different. I'm looking at one of mine here now. So you've got the sort of hair that looks like teeth, and then you've got an inner plate. When the trap closes, it goes into a digestion. And as kids, if you kept poking the finger, it goes into digestion, and it wastes the energy of the trap because there's no meat inside. So how does the plant work out whether it's a little leaf that's blown into it or whether it's an actual fly? Now, here's the amazing bit. This plant, it is a plant that has the ability to count. And let me just explain what I mean by counting, because we can all count 1, 1, 1, but you need a memory to go from 1 to 2. The Venus flytrap has a memory and can count up to 30. How amazing is that?
So why is that important that it can count?
Well, what it's got is a series of sensors inside the leaf, little tiny hairs. So if a leaf blew into it and didn't move much, then it hasn't triggered enough hairs. So what happens is a little fly goes into it, touches a hair, and it releases what's called a calcium clock. The plant has the ability to count using bursts of calcium. So what it does is then, and if a second sensor is touched,
gotcha.
Within 30 seconds or something like that, it knows something's moving around in it, then it closes. And after a couple more touches, it initiates the squeeze.
Gotcha. So it doesn't just close on the first touch, like you would think, like an impulse, like a reaction. This actually has, lack of better terms, like you're saying, like a brain that kind of knows, like, hey, look at, like, I'm gonna wait around until this bug is getting comfortable, so to speak, and then I'm gonna close, because otherwise I'm just wasting my energy.
Exactly.
Neat.
Hey, Dave, I got a question for you. In your research, did you ever come across a bug or an insect that the Venus flytrap would trap and begin to close and eat that was poisonous to the Venus flytrap?
Well, it really depends on what toxins are. I get asked this a lot. The difference in between toxicity of plants across different species changes. So, for instance, you might say to yourself, I don't know, the yew tree, which is Cactus baccata, the yew tree, the berries of the yew tree, it's the seed that's right inside, are extremely cardiotoxic. So if you had about 8 to 10 of those seeds, you're dead. But how come all the birds can eat it? Well, as part of the process of eating it, it's the gel around the outside, and it's never long enough in their stomach. There's never sufficient acid there to break down the seed itself, so it just passes through. Yet, as part of the digestion system of a human being, that part of breaking down releases that cardiotoxic, and that's where the heart attack takes place. But I don't know. I think there's something where some beetles or bugs are so hard, it may be difficult. But don't forget, it's got plenty of mouths, and it's adapted in its area, specifically focused towards the soft midges, mites, mosquitoes, and things like that.
Yeah, and then there's all the other carnivorous plants out there that do eat all kinds of other things too, and they've adapted to that, and just found how they can grow in certain areas. I mean, we've talked about the ability for pollination before on the show, where only certain insects or certain animals sometimes can pollinate a certain flower. So they've adapted over the years with all these fun little abilities. Hey, David, we're going to take another break. When we get back from the break, this has 75 plants that you kind of focused on, and lots of fun stories behind each one. But I want to talk a little bit more about where this kind of came from. So when we get back from break, we'll continue chatting with David Domoney from the UK about plants with superpowers.
And, of course, we are monitoring Facebook Live questions, comments, so whatever's on your mind regarding our interview with David, please put those right there in the comment section. We are going to take a break. Biz Talk Radio going to pay some bills, and a big thank you to Fertilome, our major sponsor here on Garden America. Brian Main, John Bagnasker, Tiger Palafox. We return after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. We have returned. Welcome. Thank you so much. Been a couple of weeks since we've been back in studio. John is back with us. Tiger Palafox, I'm Brian Maiden. We continue, and very, very interesting so far, Tiger, as we continue with David.
Yeah, so David Domoney, again, plants with superpowers. Some of these superpower plants that you're talking about, David, are just from, the tests of time, like meaning, they've been around for centuries, and, now we're finding out about this information. And you mentioned, in the book, one of them is the ginkgo tree. And, we know a lot of benefits of a ginkgo tree. There's all the health benefits. The tree is a beautiful tree, and it grows in a wide variety of areas too. But we also found, it's able to, withstand things that we didn't even know just because of certain areas it was in, right?
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely right. And first of all, the ginkgo is the last of the ginkgos. So the ginkgos that live today are from a lineage that goes right the way back 250 million years ago. They were the prototypes of trees. And the ginkgo, the biloba, is one of the last of the big family of that time. And you can plant them and grow them in your garden. And the amazing thing is, you could go to a museum. I think that the oldest one is there's a fossil of a leaf of the ginkgo that's 175 million years old. You could walk to that museum, look at that leaf fossil, and walk back to your own garden and touch a living leaf for real. Mm-hmm. That's how amazing that plant is. Now, the plant also has a unique ability to survive a lot of pollution, but probably the biggest surprise was it actually survived an atomic bomb. In 1945 in Hiroshima, when the explosion happened, about 1.6 kilometers away from the epicenter of the explosion, there was a temple which had a group of these ginkgos planted, and with the horrific devastation, it destroyed the temples, irradiated the trees, blasted off the bark, the branches, the leaves. 12 months, the trees started to sprout again, which was seen as a big sign of hope in the area. So I think that's a pretty good superpower for a ginkgo to be able to survive something like that, especially something that's connected so long with this planet.
Yeah, I mean, we see that, with other trees, whether it's been a flood or a wildfire that's scorched an area, and what they can withstand, and then sometimes come back from. And when we cannot even fathom the idea of being able to be out there during that moment. And with the ginkgo specifically, like you say, it has such a history, beyond what we even know about it, and then just the other benefits to it. When it comes to finding these plants that you're talking about, or you're in doing your research, I know that you've done a lot of studying. Are you kind of more focused on science when it comes to the plants, or how did you kind of come around this? Or are you more of a horticulturist and you just like the beauty of them?
Yeah, my education and background, I'm a horticulturist. It's an understanding of the development and growing of plants. But it takes you, this book and the research in this book took me into other areas as well, quite a lot of different areas when you think about it. One was history, one was obviously entomology, taxonomist, there was neurology, and the process of electric. Well, let's just say electric, for instance. Mm-hmm. A mobile phone with the right adaptation can be charged by a potato. See, the potato is nature's battery. Its superpower is it holds electrochemical energy, obviously stored in acidic starch within the potato itself. And remember it as a school science project, with a zinc nail and a bit of copper wire, what happens is there's a chemical reaction between the zinc and the copper, which releases electrons, which produces energy. And one, medium-sized potato, something like that, attached to an LED lamp, can make that lamp light up for 40 days. So trying to explain all of that detailed in 300 words within in the segment of the book is hard work. Or if I just take a look at walnut, for instance. Okay, look, the walnut looks pretty much like a human brain.
Yeah.
And it was believed for a while, and that's how I got the thing. It was always believed that the walnut was good for the brain. So part of the research looking at how a walnut particularly engages with the brain suddenly takes me into areas that I'm not an expert in, although I have a fairly good understanding now, is that other than the shape and the swirling features of the walnut, it's the linoleic acid and the polyphenols within the walnut itself actively improves memory, cognition, and motor function. But it also contains polyunsaturated fatty acids, which improves brain health, and it's full of other compounds, again, that assist sleep.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the way the brain work is improved by the constituents of a walnut, the health of the brain is enhanced by, again, the constituents, and the compounds within it that makes you sleep freshens the mind as well. So walnut's superpower is to enhance the brain.
Yeah, and
There was something to the doctrine of signatures.
yeah, we've talked about the doctrine of signatures, which is where that concept of when a plant looks like a body part, David, it's supposed to kind of somehow help that body part,
Or be used to treat
diseases
diseases
of that body part. And obviously through the years, a lot of those have been debunked, but some of those, like you're saying with the walnut, actually have some truth to it, right?
They do, and there's other things. There's one particular, the berry. Take the blueberry, for instance. Obviously identified as a plant that has superpowers to health.
Yeah.
I mean, the age-defying antioxidants it contains in itself is equal to 5 servings of other fruit and veg. So we know it's an anti-aging, so it keeps us younger. Again, polyphenols within there, again, supports against wrinkle and skin care. And there has been studies that the blueberry may affect a gene which regulates the fat and storage of abdominal fat. So to make you look younger, feel younger, and thinner around the waist, you suddenly realize that plants have a lot more personality rather than something that grows in the garden.
Definitely. And you know, it's so fun to kind of dive into these because like you kind of are mentioning these plants. None of these plants are, you know, on some top mountaintop that nobody has any grasp of knowing how it lives or where it lives or will ever see it. These are things that you see every day, and you know, you might even consume every day. I mean, I don't know if the blueberry pie that I ate has the same benefits of what you just talked about. I mean, I think it might also have to do with what it was in. But
I think to activate,
I feel good eating it.
Activate the benefits of blueberry pie, you need a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
True that. Now, David, is this your first book that you've written, or have you written other books?
I've written other books, but before we move on from that, having you just confessed that you've had a blueberry pie, there was also some strong evidence that links blueberries to being a natural form of Viagra.
Oh, there you go.
I think Tiger's well aware of that. He eats about 2 or 3 of those pies a week.
Yeah, I just always have blueberries with me.
Yeah. My last book, the last book that I wrote was about mental health benefits of growing plants indoors, houseplants, and how the interaction of growing houseplants. I mean, as a human species, we're very different from other creatures. If you take pollinators and bees, for instance, they have enhanced photoreceptors, so they see different, they can see ultraviolet light, really. They can see patterns that we can't. But as humans, we can see more different variant shades of green than almost any other colour, mainly because we were either hunters or hunted, and we were trying to identify things in the woods and in the forests. But I also looked at certain ways of the production of oxygen by plants inside rooms, and also the removal of certain toxins that builds up from antiperspirant, cleaning products, you know, opening the door, exchange of gases from exhaust fumes outside, trichloroethylene, benzene, formaldehyde, toluene, xylene, and all the like. So I wrote a book that highlighted 50 houseplants, plants that you can grow inside your home that improve your mental and physical well-being. And that was I created a big science exhibit about it. We have this thing in the UK called the Chelsea Flower Show. I don't know whether you've heard it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes, we've been there.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, well, I created a science exhibit of this about 3 years ago. We won the gold and one of the best in show categories, explaining the science of growing plants inside. And I create loads of videos on YouTube. So if anybody's interested, they're all for free. At David Domoney is my YouTube channel. And you can get on there. We create a lot of information, fascinating interaction with humans and plants that make a bit of a difference.
Hey, David, sorry, I got to cut you off. We're going to have to take another break real quick. When we get back, we'll continue chatting with David about all the wonderful things he's doing.
And if you're on BizTalk Radio, one more segment before we wrap up the hour. Facebook Live will keep on going. This is Garden America back after these messages, paying some bills. BizTalk Radio, Garden America. All righty. We are back. As I mentioned, if you are tuned in on BizTalk Radio, this is the final segment of Hour 1. We come back at 6 minutes after, though. Lots of shows still remaining. The runway is still long for us here as we continue with our conversation with David from England, United Kingdom.
Yeah, we've got our listeners adding blueberries to all their meals right now as they join us around the world and eating their snacks. So, David joining us from England, and you were just telling us about all the wonderful educational things that you do, the books, the videos. And like you said, a lot of people can find those YouTube videos.
And somebody wants to know again if we could reiterate the YouTube channel name.
Yeah, and I'll put it up for
on the link.
On the link.
Okay.
But also you do a lot of TikToks. I mean, you are educating people not just about plants, but about nature, as you kind of mentioned with your other book. And you have this enthusiasm behind you, David. Where does all of this desire to educate come from?
Well, I think when you have a passion and it's been my life calling is working with plants, and every day you're learning something new from it. And I've always felt deep down that there is a positivity, a happiness, a passion, a motivation that comes with connecting with nature. And I'm on Facebook too, so I do Facebook posts with short videos every day that highlight some of the magical things. So if you want to see what gardening in the UK is like, I do a little show on YouTube, which is a year in my garden. So you can follow me potting and plant. You'll probably see a lot of similarities of the things that you're growing, although with a lot better temperature than ours. It's been freezing some mornings. But when we come into summer, I'm doing so many different activities. But it's a privilege to be connected with plants and nature and becoming happier because of it.
Yeah. And I mean, sorry, John, did you have something to add?
I was just going to mention quickly that Lisa in Reading says that she has the book on order now, the recent book that we're discussing, The Plants with Superpowers. And Tanya in San Jose says, I'm loving this guest, with 3 exclamation points, David. She said, I'll also have to order his book.
Yeah, and go ahead, David.
I was just saying that's very kind of them.
I just posted the link to the YouTube channel, and on the link to the YouTube channel, there's other links, takes you to his website, takes you to where to order the book from as well.
Thank you.
Also in the newsletter, there was a link.
Yeah, so there's no hiding from it at all. Over there in the UK, David, when John and I actually visited to go to the Chelsea Flower Show, what was that, 5 years ago now?
You and I didn't go to Chelsea. We went to Hampton Court.
Okay. But when we went to Hampton Court, what was that, like?
It was June, I believe.
But like 5 years ago?
I'm going to say
about 5 years.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The idea of gardening.
It was pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
The idea of gardening there was so much more ingrained into the people, meaning, it was just very a standard of practice.
More like a lifestyle.
It is. It is. Versus here, and when I say here, I do just speak for Southern California, because on the East Coast, I think that they have that concept of it's spring, we need to garden, right. I need to get outside. Right. But anyways, over there, it is more of a lifestyle. And so when you're meeting people over there and you're talking about plants, does it seem like the people there just have a better understanding of what to do, David?
Yeah. So there is it's quite a culture, the garden, the space out at the back. And everybody does different things with it. But the culture of flower shows, people getting together during those shows, with people turn up with their children, their dogs. It's a pretty good get together, and that's really the magic of it. But they're very serious. I mean, I present on 2 or 3 national TV shows here, because we have a lot of gardening programs that are commonplace on our evening TV, and I do some of them where we're creating whole gardens in a very short period of time. In fact, I've got to do one the end of next week where I get an hour and a half to completely make over somebody's front garden live on TV. So it's real bare-knuckle stuff. But sometimes if I go into an audience of a garden centre, and I'll do 100 shows in a year, you know, if I go to talk about grow your own, for instance, there's usually a silent hush for the first 10 minutes with everybody very knowledgeable about growing your own with their arms crossed. And I have to...
Yep.
I know, what does this guy from the telly know about grow your own? So I usually throw it open to questions and answers, and then after about 5 minutes of difficult questions, everybody relaxes into it, and then they never let me go at the end. You know, it's the one that goes on into early evening. But yes, you're right. There is a culture within there, because we're very seasonally based. We mentioned this at the top of the show, is that we're just coming out of a winter. Most of us growing seeds now have got a little bit of heat in the greenhouse. So the excitement of spring is so very special. And then we go into a summer, and they're unpredictable. Rainy last summer, but the summer before were very, very hot. And then it goes into autumn. And so the punctuations of the season, we look outside, and almost every week it looks different.
Yeah. Yeah, and your guys' commitment, your level of commitment to the garden. I mean, you know, you're the orangery, you know, at those beautiful estates, you know, building whole houses to house the plants that, you know, are not native to your area or not adapted to your area, just so you guys can have them. You know, and you guys have you know, gone all over the world to collect plants. I mean, at the what was the Kew?
Right.
Kew, at the Kew Botanical Garden, the collection that you guys showcase there is just mind-blowing from all over the world. And then you've created their own environments in that area to kind of be able to showcase them off. I mean,
the plant hunters came from the UK.
Yeah.
Mainly.
You know, so I mean, do you kind of feel like you're in that group right there, David? I mean, kind of, you know, this Plants with Superpowers, you're bringing knowledge to people that, you know, they have no clue about.
Yes, I think it is the case. We were very keen. There was a thing called a Wardian case. That's what was it was a glass case that was first used, which then transformed into bottle gardens and terrariums, which kept plants alive. So as they were bringing back from Australia and the Indies and the like in the Victorian times, that's where this whole concept of plant collection. And I suppose Kew Gardens, if you think about it, is almost a zoo, but for plants.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity for people to go and see orchid houses and palm trees, which we don't have here, which you guys have in abundance. So it's pretty much like that. But for most of mine and my audience that I talk to on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and everything like that.
Hey, David, sorry to interrupt. When we get back from the break, sorry, we had to take another break. When we get back, we'll be able to kind of share more of the info that you were in the middle of.
Got to stay on time. We've got news coming up on Biz Talk Radio. We will return with David after the top of the hour, 6 minutes after for Biz Talk Radio, even quicker for Facebook Live. Do stay with us. This is Garden America. Don't go anywhere. All right, if you're on Biz Talk Radio, welcome to hour number 2. We are Garden America, obviously. We're on Facebook Live as well, so we're going to keep on rolling with our conversation with David. And again, a lot of interest. Sold a couple of books, lots of compliments so far. And the good news, David, we only take, 5% of every book he sells, so you'll still be in pretty good shape, David.
Yeah, so sorry to cut you off, David. You know, I was so entrenched in listening to your conversation that I forgot the time. But, you know, before the break, you were discussing some of the people, more of your subscribers over there. Do you remember where you left off?
Yes, I do. So my thought is gardening doesn't have to be complicated. Everybody can grow. And the thing of growing your own, for instance, some of the posts that I'm putting out are simple. Are things that you can, because whatever happens, no matter where you are in the world, as humans, we're inside the house. The temperature is pretty standard inside my house as it would be in your house over the other side of the world. So So a windowsill, for instance, can do so much. So I do some posts on how to crop and grow your own on your own windowsill, whether that's chilies or microgreens or cress, or whether it's choosing the right plants if you've got a dog in the garden. So although a lot of the things that I write about Superpowers have an amazing and slightly technical basis, a lot of the information that I put online is to encourage people to engage and enjoy gardening in small individual projects that then lead into a bigger embracement of a hobby that will give them a passion and happiness all their lives.
Yeah, and I mean, the videos that you produce also show people how easy it can be if you just don't overthink it too. And like we said, between TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, there's no lack of being able to get a hold of these. I am going to share the link to your book right now onto our chat as well. But your website, daviddomoney.com. You also have a newsletter that people can subscribe to, right?
Yes, and it's all for free. I do a newsletter that comes out with lots of different gardening activities, links to interesting videos. It's all for free, and there'll be something in there that hopefully a little project that you could start or engage with. And it's all about connecting people to the gardens. And I mean, sometimes it's the simplest thing. For me, it's going out into the garden at the end of an evening, especially in summer, just with a cold beer, no phone, sitting down and watching the swifts. We get swifts that go between the telephone lines. It's the simple engagement with nature that balances, that reduces cortisol in the body, which is a stress hormone, and it just reconnects you with nature, and you feel happier, more enriched because of it, than sitting down, looking down at a phone, going through individual videos. Having said that, I am using that same technology to inspire people to engage with nature at the same time.
Yes, and in a very good way. And thank you for joining us this morning. Morning here, afternoon there, and we hope you have a great rest of the day. And again, thank you very much for joining us, David.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
You take care.
You bet.
David Domoney.
What was is it the Winston Churchill who had the quote that we use sometimes about the wandering the garden with your cigar and the occasional aphis?
No, that was the Reverend Dean Hole.
Why do I always think? I always feel it's Winston
because
Churchill.
he had
a cigar.
Churchill, smoked cigars.
Yeah.
He was the one that wrote a book about roses. And do you remember the title of the book? It was very creative. It was called A Book About Roses. Yeah, he had the. We've told the story before, but he was visiting London for business, and started missing his garden at home, and so that whole story came up like that because he heard. He saw a girl on the corner selling roses, so he bought a rose, stuck in his boutonniere as a boutonniere, smelled it, and then said, I miss my roses. I'm tired of the sounds and smells of Piccadilly. I'm going home. So he went home and talked about being able to kind of decompress and walk in the garden with his cigar. In case he came across an aphis. An aphis. He could just poke it with the cigar. That would take care of it.
How exact do you have to be to hit an aphis with a cigar, right? You're going to be burning some leaves, I feel.
Well, you're burning leaves anyway when you're smoking a cigar.
This is about the time of year
Well
aphids
done.
start to
Well
come out,
done.
right?
In Southern California, they're out year round for us, but it is the time of year that they do start to come out way more.
Yeah.
They love that new supple.
I still have not one aphid anywhere in my yard.
No way.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Really? I mean, you've
Yeah.
looked every inch. You've lifted every rock, every leaf,
Looked under the leaves. Still can't find
that's
one.
interesting because I had that city mold happening with the palms. So I'm spraying them, they're looking pretty good. And went, wait a second. You look underneath, And that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
most of the damage is. It's like, oh my gosh, really?
You have scale? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've ended up, some I was able to treat, others I just cut the leaf. They're in good shape. They'll grow more.
I see one of our listeners, John Clements, is listening or was listening. I don't know if he is now, but John, if you're still, I think he's going to be doing a talk about citrus trees coming up here. I think at one of the local garden centers. So, John, if you want to share where that, maybe I missed it. Sorry if I'm late, but it's always fun to see people in action.
Right,
John's
what they're
always
doing.
a plethora of knowledge about pretty much anything gardening.
You know what I need to find, and I can't remember the name. I've looked it up before, so I know you can get the trees now, but since January, I've been enjoying Sumo citrus.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, the Sumo mandarins, they're unbelievably good. And I have 3 lemon trees and don't use any of the lemons, so I'm thinking, why don't I just plant something I'm going to eat?
How have you gotten yours?
Albertsons.
Oh, do you know which brand they're putting them under?
Sumo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I just recently, because when you go and you see the cuties, and then there's these other ones called peels.
Peels? I haven't seen the peels.
I've seen the cuties.
Yeah, the cuties, peels, and then I don't know. There's another brand, and Janine the other day brought one home, and I'm like, oh, you made a mistake, because they're the real hard to peel ones, So I just grabbed a bag this week, and I think they're the easier to peel ones. So.
The Sumos they don't sell in bags because Major Market in Fallbrook sells them for $5 a piece.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and even at Albertsons on sale.
Piece?
A piece, yeah.
$5.
Yeah, and
Man, you do need a tree.
at Albertsons they're on sale for $3.99 a pound, which is still kind of expensive because each one weighs practically a pound.
Really?
Yeah, but they're so good. Have you been eating them? You haven't been eating them?
No.
Oh wow!
Sumo mandarin.
You don't know what you're missing. I think we're coming towards the end of the season, but I would have brought some in.
That's
Well, I mean-
rather healthy what you talk about, but I do have a little story to tell you. This goes back
Rather
to probably the last time you were on the air with us before you took your hiatus. And you had briefly...
Last month, you mean?
Last month in February. You briefly mentioned that, I woke up this morning and I had bagel and cream cheese and on. And so I get home and Dana says, bagel and cream cheese. When John mentioned that, haven't had that in years.
Years?
So what happens? We go to the store for the past once a week. When we go to the store, it's bagels and cream cheese. Bagels and cream cheese. I said, power of suggestion. Now maybe the Sumo mandarin will trigger something else now in the area of fruit. But yeah, it's been bagels and cream cheese ever since you mentioned that.
There is no citrus easier to peel.
Yeah.
They have it's called Sumo because sumo wrestlers have a top knot, their hair done in that top knot, and this is on the citrus, so you can just grab that, yank it off,
And it just falls away.
It just falls away. But it's unbelievable. They're unbelievably good.
We've got about a minute till our next break as we roll along here. Oh, are we caught up? Have we hit questions and comments? If we apologize, we got so wrapped up with David, so we can scroll back and take a look. And if we did miss something on Facebook, go ahead and post it again, whether it be question, comment, whatever's on your mind.
Carla's asking for a secret here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, Tanya also mentioned that she saw a pink pineapple at this store.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen those?
I've seen them before, yes.
Yeah.
She said it was $10.
Yeah, they're pretty pricey. They tend to be a little sweeter, but I mean pineapples can be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah.
I will say though, you never, here, you never get a pineapple like when you travel to
when we were in Costa Rica on the boat,
Yes.
and the guy cut open that fresh pineapple.
yeah.
They're because they have to package them and ship them, and you'll never get it.
Right now, we have to take a break for Biz Talk Radio. This is Garden America. Stay with us. You'll be happy to know once again the mics are hot. Don't touch them. We're back on the air. We're live. We're live. We can't. I don't think we don't even have a 7-second delay here.
No dump button.
There's no dump button.
Uh-oh.
No, we got to be very careful.
If that's really true, I'm surprised you would mention that.
What,
But I guess we don't have callers anymore other than guests.
Well, that exactly. Now, when we had callers back in the day, yes, we did. I think we had to use it a few times. Well, except that one story years ago when I was producing Bruce's show.
Yeah.
And the guy called in from East County talking about how cold it was. one choice word the guy used, and Bruce didn't even bat an eye.
Yeah.
He
goes,
said it was so freezing cold.
Yeah, it's so freezing cold up here. And then
Different F word, though.
Bruce said, yeah, this time of year, that's what you're going to get.
A good word to describe Bruce was unflappable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Carla was asking the secret about why I don't have aphids. I honestly don't know for sure, but my thought is the organic food that I'm using has got so many beneficial microorganisms in it that it reacts the same way that worm
Castings.
Worm castings, worm gold.
would, right? Yeah, and that the plants grow great with it, but instead of a fast growth like with Miracle Grow or
Right.
chemical fertilizer,
It's a healthy growth.
it's a slower, determinate growth that allows the plant to build up their cell walls. And aphids are sucking insects, so
You can't get through those thick cell walls.
they not as easily as they can through thin cell walls, which occur when plants are growing really
right,
fast.
exactly.
So they'll just go somewhere else.
And I think also, which contributes to your success, is, that idea of the integrated pest management concept, that you do just let nature kind of take care of everything over there. Meaning,
I don't
because
spray,
you don't
I
spray,
think there's more
yeah,
beneficial
there's-
insects around. Right?
exactly, but not
Yeah.
just beneficial insects, but beneficial critters. And then like you're saying, you allow natural growth versus forced growth.
Lots of lizards around too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Got to
So,
love those lizards. We see them all over the place.
By the way,
Love
I
'em.
just caught 69 and 70 and 71 gophers.
And-
See, that's one area where you don't have the integrated pest management.
And this is since when? When did you start keeping track?
It's been a year
been
now.
a year, about a year.
Yeah, about a year. My goal is to reach 100.
And then are you going to stop or what? No,
No,
you got to go for
hopefully-
200.
Hopefully they'll stop. Like when are you guys going to learn your lesson?
Yeah, right.
No, they won't. Yeah, creating that good environment.
Yeah.
The good bacteria versus the bad bacteria, that whole thing.
And then, John's watering regime too also contributes to just the overall health of the plant and growth. Like he's not, forcing a lot. And so therefore, again, you're not forcing a lot of new growth. I think that there's a lot of things that attribute to not having a lot of pests because you don't have a lot of disease either, out there on your plants, which could be problematic as well because, then the disease causes the stress of the plant and then the stress of the plant, makes it weaker and that's when pests come in.
Hey, would you say that I think maybe because we had all the rain, I'm starting to get just the signs of some very new growth on my plumeria?
Yeah.
It's okay, March?
Totally
We're good?
fine.
Yeah, I know.
You're good after the 1st of March.
Okay.
Pretty much February ends our worry of frost
Right.
or any kind of damage like that.
I have a plumeria starting to leaf out
Yeah.
that did not have leaves last year. So
There you go.
maybe it's happy finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's settled now. We're
I
not sure
bought
we're going to
the
stay here.
variegated leaf one at the. I think
Yeah, you
we
did get a new one.
Yeah, I think we were at the plumeria show, right?
Yep.
Balboa Park
Yep.
back in September, I think it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that when we did it?
Yeah, September, October.
No, it wasn't that late. Was it,
Yeah,
Tiger?
it
don't
was. It
remember.
was toward the. Well, we can look up a show.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, please do.
But
It was after summer.
Maya was the variety, Maya,
Mm-hmm.
and it had variegated leaves, and I kept that in a pot because the year before when I had planted all the plumeria and they all froze, I wasn't sure what would happen. But in a pot it did fine.
Yeah,
So
and in
I
a pot
think
you
I'm-
can move it around accordingly.
Did you get that picture I took of the patio? I wanted to give you a perspective of the growth of the the bottle tree.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were showing me at first, and then I
See how big that sucker is?
yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's not a sucker. Suckers,
Isn't it?
No, suckers come from
Oh, I see.
under the graft union.
But I
This
transplanted
one's not
that
grafted.
Almost right away from that pot that you had given me, and it's done very well.
Hey,
What does Tiger have
Yeah,
here?
Tiger's
so
gonna
I
break
brought
out
this
something.
in. I totally forgot it until we looked up, but I
No.
brought in a cutting, a flower from my paintbrush lily
Now,
here.
about 3 weeks ago, I'm
Amanthus.
guessing, in the newsletter.
Yeah, the buds had
Right.
just emerged.
Now this is starting to fade, right?
Yeah, this one's
Yeah.
getting older. It's kind of fading. They're much more vibrant colors.
Have you
But I mean,
left them on like that and seen them form berries?
Yes.
Seeds, yeah.
Yeah, I normally leave them on. So let me see here. Like you can see if you're watching the video.
It looks
like,
good
this
in
is
the video.
size of my head almost. I mean, I think this is the original plant, and then we.
Is that the one you lost for a while and then found again?
Yeah, exactly. I think this is the original one, and then I have these two newer ones that look smaller. So I think they're offshoots of it. But lots of fun, and the coloration on these is just striking. I mean, when they first come out, if you can see in the video, the underside, these are in the Amaryllis family, right, John? Or Amaryllisaceae or something?
I'm not. I don't think so.
No?
I could be wrong though. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. It is it's a bulb, and it's a Hamanthus. Actually, Scadoxus. Scadoxus and Hamanthus are related, and the way you tell the two is that. Let me make sure I get this right. A Hamanthus has 2 leaves,
Oh, okay.
and then the flower spike comes up in the center.
Hum is leaf and
Scadoxus.
manthus is too, right?
What?
Manthus.
This is what?
Never mind.
I don't know. I missed what you said.
Sometimes John will go, yeah,
Sure,
that's
yeah.
exactly right.
Oh.
And the other way to tell is,
The Scadoxus have a whorl of leaves instead of just the 2 flat ones that come out.
Okay. Yeah, and like in Amaryllis is more of like the strappy leaf.
Yeah.
kind of
if
thing.
you were,
And plants are usually categorized. Excuse me, Brian.
no, go ahead.
Plants are usually categorized by the shape of the flower, by their
Right.
flower parts. Like cruciferous vegetables their flowers usually have 4 petals. So this looks nothing like an amaryllis bloom. So that's why I wouldn't guess it was in the amaryllis family,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, if I was going to direct a science fiction movie
Yeah.
and create a planet, and I wanted something that people didn't see every day, plants of different origins and stuff, I might start with that,
Right?
Yeah. Just to give the
It almost looks like a carnivorous
the
plant.
look, yeah, exactly. And as I mentioned, it looks like you stuck a flower on
Celery.
top of a celery stalk.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd eat that though. There was some gooey sap coming out of it that I
Hey,
think would
speaking
give
of
you a
gooey
tummy
sap,
ache.
we got to take a break.
Oh, do we have gooey sap?
And we're
at the
going to
end
come
of a
back.
break?
We've got 2 more segments in terms of Biz Talk Radio Facebook Live. Here we go. It's Garden America back after this break. Stay with us. All righty. As I mentioned before the break, 2 more segments for Biz Talk Radio Facebook Live. We decided during the break, we make a lot of important decisions, and we went back and forth on this, but we did come to an agreement that we should do the quote of the week. For those people that join us late in the show, they don't always get to hear it because we usually do it the first segment or two. So, John, the quote of the week, and boy, I tell you what, you got people that are just clamoring for this.
Also, before we do that, I checked this during the break, and Scadoxus is a genus of African and Arabian plants in the Amaryllis family.
Oh, so it is in
So
the
you were
Amaryllis
right,
family.
Tiger.
An African and what was it?
Arabian.
So what would
Right.
Arabia be? What country?
Oh, Saudi
would
Arabia.
be- Well, but like, at what area?
The
what
Middle
other-
East,
Middle
I
East?
would
The
think.
Middle
It
East.
would be like
yeah.
Africa, top
But
of
I mean, that's got to be like more along like the Nile or something. Then, like
There's
this
some of the
wouldn't ju-
coastal areas.
Yeah, this
coastal
wouldn't just
areas of
grow
the
in the
Nile.
Not in
middle,
the desert.
not in the middle of the
No.
desert.
Right.
Like this has got to be like more of like the tropical Arabian Africa areas kind of a thing. Man, that's cool.
Yeah, just think Dubai.
Yeah, and the cool thing because it's a bulb, it probably traveled. Because meaning
Yeah.
a lot of times what you'll have is you'll have a flood or something will wash out an area, and those bulbs travel with whatever it is. And so I could imagine where it was native to. It was really pretty when they bloomed.
Well, Turkey, we've mentioned before, has more tulips than any other country
That's
in
right.
the world. And a lot of the bulb plants come from that area. That's
true.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, the quote is reminds me a little bit of our talk with David Domoney earlier in the show. about spring hitting over there. Did you notice he said Forsythia
Yeah.
instead of Forsythia?
Yep.
We usually don't say either one because we don't have them in San Diego. But I remember even as a kid in Detroit, as soon as the Forsythia bushes at the end of the street would come into bloom, spring was here. So anyway, this quote is along those lines, and it's from one of Brian's favorite people, Rachel Carson. And she said, "There's something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature, the assurance that dawn comes after night, in spring after winter. In nature, nothing exists alone."
Yeah.
What do you got to say to that, Brian?
Just a period of silence here while we all think about that. Let it soak in.
I'm just trying to think of what is the alone thing.
Well, because one thing leads
Everything's
to another.
interrelated.
Interrelated.
Yeah.
It's like a chain.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm trying to think, is there anything that really is alone in nature? No. It's very true, right?
What a deep thought, deep question that evokes, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there is.
Is anything really alone?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Even God wasn't happy being alone.
True. But then we can get into the whole philosophical concept of, was he alone? Really? Well, because that just gets. We go way back into Exodus.
Save this
and
for the
before.
Sunday show.
Yeah. The whole. Anyway.
Earlier, someone asked me about and Carla mentioned that Johnny Cash made some serious videos toward the end of his life.
Yeah.
And the one that I told you that I was crying on was the video "Hurt."
You're right.
Yeah.
Which was a song that
9 Inch Nails made.
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of his life, he was troubled. He was troubled at the end of his life. He was.
I don't think he was. Do you think he was troubled as much as realizing maybe what life was all
I
about?
think what happens to a lot of people is you realize the mistakes you've made at the end, some of the time that you've wasted. You're not going to get that time back again. You just reflect. It's the same reason why you cry at cartoons now.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys hear
I have too, John.
the sad news today, too? The foreman.
George Foreman.
George Foreman passed away.
No more grilling.
I did not hear that today.
I mean, the news came out, I think, last night or something.
my
So maybe
gosh.
it happened yesterday.
Do you know what year George Foreman was born?
I'm going to guess he was born in 1950.
Close. Same year I was born.
Really?
1949.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I made the
Wow.
kids watch Hoosiers last night, too.
Oh, did you? Well,
Yep.
some more Gene Hackman?
Yep.
Made them.
I did. I'm like, you guys got to watch this movie.
You know what we're going
It's
to watch
it's
tonight?
a history.
The
It's
French
classic.
Connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Gene
right?
Hackman. He's Popeye Doyle, I believe. It's all about the mafia and the French Connection and the heroin and all that.
Yeah.
I think so. I never saw it.
I didn't see it either. When it came out, I'm like, yeah, what's this about? Now that I have a very vast knowledge of all of these things now, the movie will make a lot more sense. And then Dana says, I want to see the Poseidon Adventure.
Now, I really like that.
Yes.
What's that?
I mean, everybody was in that movie. Gene Hackman, Shelley Winters, Red Buttons, Ernest Borgnine.
Shelley Winters was an actress that I was always intrigued by anything she did. And in this one, she was pretty overweight.
It's a movie about the Poseidon was a ship that overturns in the Pacific.
Ocean liner.
Ocean liner.
Yeah.
And these people are surviving and they have to get out to get saved. To watch the original one. I think they did a remake a while
Yeah,
back.
I was going to say, I saw the other one, then I saw the new one, and it's the same thing, but then there's some kind of like sea creature that attacks.
No, watch the original one. You might recognize a few of the actors, but it's like an all-star cast.
Yeah,
And Gene Hackman's in there as well. He plays a priest, doesn't he?
he does.
Yeah, in there. And come on, you can make it. You can do it.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden, all the Gene Hackman movies now coming to the surface.
Yeah.
So-
He was a good guy.
He was also Luke Luthor in Superman.
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Yeah.
That reminds me of the wedding when I before I went up to say something, I had to give a toast, right?
Yep.
And I mixed up Jesse and Kenna's name, and I said Jenna and Kessie.
Cassie.
So when I went up to give my talk later on, I started off and I said, I messed up. And I said Jesse and Ken. No, I said Kessie and Jenna's name.
Yeah.
And it was just like a play on what I had done.
Of course.
But then when I ended the talk, I ended with the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And so my son comes up to me afterwards, Joe, and says, that was a perfect speech. He says it was heartfelt, and you opened with a little humor, and you ended with a little humor. And I said, well, it was really humorous.
I didn't mean
to do it at the end.
No, but see,
it just happened because I started to get choked up. And
I've been in situations like that. In front of people, and you realize it, and you've got to turn it into something. Of course, being in radio, everything's a bit, right? And you can, if it's not on purpose, then you act like it was on purpose, or you take the joke and you turn it around and you make it funnier.
Yeah.
But that's good. See, they thought, oh, look at John, yeah, funny guy, huh?
By the way,
what a funny guy.
Do you have a word for Dana? Because she says that she joined late here. She says, I joined late here, guys. Sorry.
Well.
So I
Her
was
review.
Really?
I was thinking you would say
We'll send her review.
apology accepted.
No, you know what I've turned that into now?
What?
Apologies under review.
Oh.
Ooh.
Your apologies under review.
Oh.
I like that. It's kind of like a sports one now because everything's under review.
Have you cut back all your roses, by the way?
I did earlier. But
So are they all leafing out now? New leaves coming?
No, they're not. I had a lot of late blooms. I've got a lot of hips on Green Planet.
Hips?
Yeah.
You should have cut those off.
Is it weird that I haven't cut
See,
back
I'm
any of
admitting
my
to you.
roses
I
in
know.
like 3
I
years?
didn't do it. I'm admitting.
Well, I'm not going to blame you because I think I've cut back probably 800 roses. But I have another 800 to go.
My Chrysler Imperial that we got on that road trip is probably about 6 feet tall, maybe taller. I haven't cut it back ever.
See, there comes a point in time in
You
gardening.
don't have to cut them
No, I
back.
know you don't have to. That's why I don't.
But-
I am going against it.
I know. See, there's a point in time when you don't admit these things, and then after
So
a while,
that's
you've
the-
done it long enough. You go, yeah, I didn't do it. I messed up. I didn't feel like it. I wanted to see what happened.
I'm going to see what happens.
I want to see what
I
happens.
am never going to cut back my roses.
See,
I
John's
wanna see what
under the
happens.
same philosophy I am. When someone says those won't grow there, we go, really?
Bet you I can.
Let's see. I'll bet you I can grow it.
Yeah.
What about
We got about a minute to the break, guys.
Peggy Martin?
Peggy Martin still, it's in a tough area. I'm making her
Well,
live
like
up to her
are you
name.
talking about a bad part of town?
Yeah, exactly. But she's doing great. But she doesn't get the same care and benefits that some of the other plants get. But
Because you think she can just withstand anything.
well, I'm making her live up to her name. I'm not gonna. You don't take a tough old dog and then pamper it, right?
yeah, but
You just-
recreating Katrina in your backyard and
It's not
drowning
a
the
good
rose,
thing.
I don't know if that's such a good idea. Hey, with that in mind, we are going to take a break. One more segment coming up. Means nothing really to you, technically on Facebook Live, but on Biz Talk Radio, one more segment. Actually, one more segment for everyone. Back after these messages, more bills. A big thank you to Fertilome, Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. This is Garden America. Time is running out. All right, this is it. This is what they used to call the epilogue when you watched shows in the 70s, John, right? A Quinn Martin production, whether it was The Fugitive or another TV show, the epilogue, the last. Do they call, like in a play, would there be an epilogue in a play? The last scene?
I thought it was called Last Act.
Could be last act, but epilogue on TV back in the 70s. You don't remember that?
I might.
I'm looking for a question from Linnell.
I might.
Question about
Depends
Lenore,
if I
sorry.
feel like it. I'll remember if I feel like it.
Carla said that her citrus was starting to bloom, so she wanted to know if it was too late to transplant it. I'm not sure what she means. Is she going to dig it up from one area and move it? Or are you going to take it from one pot, move it to another pot?
Pot versus ground.
Yeah, or if you're going to take it from a pot and put it into the ground. If you're going to do that, no problem. If you're going to take it from one pot, move it to another pot, no problem. If you're going to dig it up out of the ground and move it, you're getting close, but to not being able to do it. But, Huntington Beach,
Wind.
if it's important, I would go ahead and do it. I think it would be okay.
But not a month from now.
I'm going back. Lenore had a question, and I think this is the one that they're referring to. It says, I wanted to ask, what could I use to prevent these big insects to eat my citrus flowers?
I don't know what that means.
What's a big insect?
I mean, they're eating the flowers? Trying to think. Per Sunset West, Amaryllis family, chrysanthemum, walnuts, that is. Book 2. Sorry, it's just Carla then wrote, yes, please, the Nord's question and mine about mandarin tree.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Carla's question was about the transplanting.
Right. Okay, so
Mike, by the way, Brian says that wasn't the Poseidon Adventure filmed in La Jolla?
I feel like I heard that before.
You know, that I don't know.
I never thought of that.
No, it maybe. I don't know.
And by coincidence, I had a rose open up yesterday called La Jolla.
Really?
Yeah, it's really a pretty rose.
And a very expensive rose, too, right?
Well, I put it to a special part of the garden that we don't let other roses, common roses, get into that area.
The commoners.
They have to be special hybrid teas.
You see that rose over there? What's he doing in this neighborhood?
So I think we need, if
Pip,
Lenore, hurry, if you're listening, we need
Lenore's talking about grasshoppers.
Okay.
And my guess, unless you have another idea, Tiger, would be you can't do anything about them except sneak up behind them with pruning shears and cut them in half.
Wow.
Yeah, and besides John's suggestion, the only real,
that's what I do.
No, the only real thing, and people actually do this, Lenore, believe it or not, where they do get plagued with a lot of those grasshoppers and other bugs like that, is they use a
cover.
They use a crop cover. It's usually like a very lightweight white netting material,
right?
And they cover the whole tree with it.
And it does allow sunlight, so it doesn't,
and air and all of that, but it doesn't allow those insects to infiltrate the area.
Right.
And so that is really the only thing that you could do.
Let's go back to the sneaking
use
up.
A crop cover.
I'm picturing John, doing.
By the way, the commercial, Brian. Before I lose my train of thought,
go.
The commercial name of that product is Rime.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thanks.
But sometimes you can also just buy crop covers, I guess, at different stores.
So being as alert to danger as most wild animals, birds, insects are, what's the success rate of sneaking up behind a grasshopper?
Those are so easy to catch, man.
They're stupid, you know.
Yeah, they're so dumb.
Are they?
They are.
You can catch a grasshopper so easy.
Okay.
Really?
Don't you remember?
You've never tried to catch a grasshopper?
I've never snuck up on a grasshopper with pruning shears. Am I the only one?
I don't know. I just feel like they're not very good.
Not very quick. Not very fast.
They are fast and everything.
Yeah, they are fast.
But they don't see you coming.
You remember the story about the ant and the grasshopper going into winter, and the ant was industrious and made it through the winter, and the grasshopper froze to death because it was just stupid.
Yeah,
didn't prepare for winter.
So is it kind of like the three pigs? The third pig built his house of bricks.
Yeah.
It's either that or they're just very trusting and they don't feel anything is going to ever attack it.
I trust you.
It could be like that. A grasshopper's just like, no, this guy's not going to squish me. I don't know.
Pruning shears.
Yeah, grasshoppers are very easy to get. But the other thing is sometimes they travel in numbers.
They don't even know you did that. When you cut them, I mean, they're still trying to fly away. There's only half of them there.
Oh, goodness.
You have a dark side.
Yeah.
I do.
This is where a lot of those murder podcasts start off.
Right? Exactly.
That's the only insect I have a problem with in my garden. Matter of fact, not quite, but almost plagued with them.
Really? And from a biblical aspect?
Not that bad.
Okay.
Not that bad.
We'll have to do a show
no
on what's the
swarms.
difference between a grasshopper and a locust. Do we know?
I always wonder, do you remember that...
You just ignored me.
No, I'm not ignoring you because I'm thinking of John the Baptist, right?
Okay.
Who ate locusts and honey.
In the desert.
Right.
But I'm wondering, were the locusts in grasshoppers that he ate? Or were the locusts sometimes are referred to The pods on carob trees,
Oh.
that kind of taste like chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a reference to those being locusts.
Okay.
I could see eating that.
Yeah, dipped in honey.
yeah,
Sounds
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
not
we got
grasshopper.
about a minute. Get anything off your chest that you might anything bugging you?
Let me see.
Carla says, John, are the books that you mentioned in the newsletter available on Amazon or the library?
1 minute. 1 minute remaining.
Yes, they're all available on Amazon. And if you go to Amazon, I wrote about Anthony Eglin's books, and if you want good horticultural mysteries, get those books. Yeah, you can go to Amazon and get
Okay,
them.
we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for joining us.
I'm going to come back next week.
Yeah,
too.
John's
This
going to
was
come back
fun.
next week. That was
Yeah.
our news that just broke actually.
We've
Enjoy
got
the rest of your weekend. Be safe. Have a safe weekend. Take care of yourselves. We're back again next week. I'm Brian Main, John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox. Garden America lives on. See you next week. Take care.